Hey, it's always extra special when it's a Friday. Thank you for joining me. This is the Classic Guitar Rock Daily Update for Friday, July 19th. Thank you for being here. We are about to hit our 63,000th follower on X, formerly known as Twitter. If you don't already follow us on X, please do so. At Classic Guitar R1, at Classic Guitar R1. If you're already on X, give us a follow. And by the way, while I'm shamelessly plugging the empire here, you can be a subscriber on X for $1 a month. Okay. $1 a month. And you can help us share our message across the globe. $1 a month. I mean, you literally don't notice that. You don't. $1 a month. Help get the word out. Thank you so much for tuning in. You can chime in live on X, on Facebook, and on the YouTube. So I'd love to hear from you if you'd like to check in with us. Let's get to the news today. Bruce Springsteen. It's been a good year for Bruce Springsteen. Forbes has estimated that the boss is now worth $1.1 billion. Now, remember in 2021, the end of 2021, he sold both his masters to Sony Music and his publishing to Sony Music in a deal that earned him about $500 million. So he is doing okay. And remember, he's even gotten some backlash about his tickets costing so much. I mean, they're super expensive. Bruce famously gives you your money's worth, though. I mean, he puts on like 3-hour shows. So good for him on that. And also, speaking of Bruce Springsteen, something else has happened for the first time for the boss. He has his first chart success on the country music charts. Yeah. So he apparently appears on this Zach Bryan song, Sandpaper. It debuted at 26 on the country music list. So that's the first time he's hit the country music list. So congratulations to the boss. Bob Dylan. Have you heard about this? And he's not the only one, but Bob Dylan, great writer, famously terrible singer, and everyone knows it. It's no surprise if I tell you he's a terrible singer. He is a terrible singer. He has banned cell phones. And again, not the only one. Jack White has done it. There's a famous video of Rob Halford grabbing someone's cell phone and hucking it across the arena. So this is I think it's generational. I think the older legacy artists don't like cell phones. They don't like it. And let's be honest, they cause a lot of problems. Think of all the cell phone footage that you see on YouTube showing terrible performances, right? Vince Neil, Stephen Pearcy. There was a year or two ago, and I'm a Stephen Pearcy fan, by the way, year or two ago, the footage of him where I don't know if he was drunk or on meds or something, but he sounded bad. And of course, this all goes online. So it's harder for artists to clamp down on the PR control, right? And so they don't want. Here's another thing, which is kind of a bummer, right? For instance, I'm going to see Judas Priest with Rich Hanna, who's the host of the Classic Metal Vault. He and I are going to go see the Priest in October. Well, guess what? We already know the set list. We know the order they're going to play it. We know what it looks like because we've seen it all on the YouTube. So yeah, that's kind of a bummer, to be honest. There's no surprise about that. Where am I going with all this? Well, I'm going to this place. Bob Dylan, in his upcoming tour, what fans will have to do is they've got to use a Yonder pouch. You know what a Yonder pouch? I had to look it up. I didn't know. A Yonder pouch. So you go in, they let you in, they put your phone in a little pouch, and apparently you hang on to this pouch. So you have the phone. They don't take your phone, but they put this in the little pouch that has a code. And you can't get in and use your phone until they unlock it, either at a certain point in the venue, like if you go to get drinks or something and you're not on the concert floor, or after the show, they'll unlock it. So what do you think about that? I mean, I have mixed feelings, right? Part of me is like, this is the world we live in now. Everyone has cell phones. Everyone's going to record stuff. It's just going to happen. I think a lot of these older artists are trying to clamp down, and they're used to having more control, right? Remember the good old days, you couldn't snap pictures, you couldn't record it. I mean, and then there are other artists that embrace it. They're like, hey, you'll see the people that grab someone's phone, take a selfie of themselves, show the crowd, hand it back. So it's kind of two different mindsets. What do you think? I'd love to hear what you think about that. Shoot me an email, classicguitarrock@mail.com, or just chime in here on the as we're talking about it. What do you think? I don't know. I don't know the right answer. I'm not sure how I feel about it. I don't think I'd be good with putting my phone in a Yonder pouch and having them lock it up. I don't know. I'm not sure how I feel about that. Jack Russell, former lead singer of Great White. My, once bitten, twice shy. And of course, when you think about Great White, you think of that tragedy in Pennsylvania. Was it Pennsylvania where like 125 people were killed because of the pyrotechnics in that club, including a member of the band? Just a tragedy. But Jack Russell's like, there were a few of the young new bands of the 80s, some more talented than others, right? Jack Russell is a great singer. I always thought he was a great singer. Sebastian Bach was a great singer. So there were a number of that time frame, the late 80s. That's really when I was working in radio. I started in radio in 1986 and worked in radio till about 96, so 10 years. And that time frame, right? That's really my wheelhouse. That mid to late 80s, when I was working in contemporary hit radio and some classic rock radio. But Great White to me was one of the more talented bands of that era. Well, Jack Russell, former singer for Great White, has announced on social media he will be retiring from touring on account of his health. He says, quote, "To my fans and friends, it is with the heaviest of hearts that I must announce my retirement from the road. After a recent diagnosis of Lewy body dementia, it's called LBD, and multiple system atrophy, MSA, in May 2024, I'm unable to perform at the level I desire and at the level you deserve. Words cannot express my gratitude for the many years of memories, love, and support. Thank you for letting me live my dreams. You have made my life a wonder." Lewy body dementia is the second most common type of neurodegenerative dementia after Alzheimer's disease. I didn't know that. Affecting more than 1 million people in the U.S. How quickly symptoms, which include problems with thinking, movement, behavior, and mood, develop vary from person to person. Actor Robin Williams, who died in 2014, suffered from the disease. Multiple system atrophy, however, is much more rare, affecting approximately between 2 and 5 people per 100,000. So if you've seen footage of Great White, Jack's had to sit down, perform sitting down for the last few years. And I'm not trying to sound rude when I say this, but realistically, when you see an artist and they have to sit down the whole show, it puts a damper on. I'm just being honest. It does put a damper. Especially the lead singer of a rock and roll band. If he sits the whole show, it's kind of a bummer. And that's not to disparage Jack Russell in any way. I think he'd agree with me, right? And again, this is a common theme here, as our classic rock icons get older, we will hear more and more of this, right? Um, we all get old, right? We can't escape Father Time, and this is just another example of that. But Jack Russell, great singer, and Great White really had a lot of songs. You know what's really cool? There's a live version of Great White doing Ramble On, which is really cool. One of the best covers I've ever heard of that song. But good luck to Jack Russell. And hopefully he didn't mention this, but hopefully there will be an opportunity for him to still have a foot in the door in terms of recording or something like that. We hope that is the case. As we talked about Rod Argent earlier, and in fact, I've got an email about that I'm going to share right now. Rod Argent suffered a stroke recently, and he's announced, hey, I can't tour anymore. But he said he will still be doing some things in the studio, which is great. Hence our email. By the way, you can always drop me an email, classicguitarrock@mail.com, classicguitarrock@mail.com. You can always drop me an email. This is from Lauren, who's a regular. Great to hear from you, Lauren. Lauren says, hey, Jeremy, I'm sorry to hear about Rod Argent. I love the Zombies, one of my favorite 60s bands. Wasn't Argent in Sugarloaf too? Then it's too hot. Done with the heat. Take care, Lauren. Off the top of my head, I'm not sure. I'm checking that question. This is breaking news. Was Rod Argent in Sugarloaf? Let's see. If I was cool, I'd just ask Siri, but I don't even have Siri on my phone. Let's see. Okay. I am not seeing a mention of him being in Sugarloaf. I'm looking closer. The Zombies had a great catalog. You forget how many great songs they had, but they had a number. And I would burst into song and sing them for you, but no one wants that. I do not see that he was in Sugarloaf. I could be wrong. I'm just scrolling through here. So I think I can say he wasn't in Sugarloaf, but I'm not sure. So I'm going to keep looking. But Lauren, thank you so much for your email. And yes, Lauren is across the state from me. So over by Seattle. I'm on the eastern side of Washington, and it's been very hot for us. Now, some of you that are in the South are used to it. You'll laugh at us, but I mean, it's been in the upper 90s for the last at least 2 or 3 weeks. No end in sight. We're supposed to get up to 106 on Sunday. That's hot for us. Okay. And we're wimpy. And there's a lot of homes up here where folks don't have air conditioning. I don't have central air. I have some window units, and fortunately there are three places in the house that stay cool, but the rest of the house gets pretty hot, and it's pretty annoying. But yeah, the nice thing about when you go down south, and I'll be going to Oklahoma in August where it's really hot and humid. They got the humidity there. The good thing there is almost everyone has air conditioning. My gosh, living there without air conditioning, that would be brutal. And some people do it. But up here, there's even more folks that don't have AC. And it's really only a problem for a few weeks out of the year. But it has been hot for us. Why am I talking about that's like an old guy. All of a sudden, I turned into an old guy talking about the weather. That's weird. Well, hey, thank you for tuning in. I hope whatever you do this weekend, it's fun, that it's safe. And I want to thank you so much for tuning in, for all your support. Live long and prosper. We'll do it all again next week. Have a great weekend.